see. I think I will take this here. Take this
Order
short here.
filled.
Basically seeing a rejection off of that 2 standard deviation. I just want to see price move back in this range towards some of this low resistance liquidity. Like I said, I'll give myself a bigger stop loss and see if we can scale into this trade as it starts moving down, right? Actually, one second. I think there was a contract change. I actually don't know why it's not copy trading over. Yeah, my accounts actually are not copying over. So let me see real quick. MNQ September. Yeah, I lost the September contract on my NinjaTrader, so this is kind of weird. It's not wanting to copy over. Yeah, it's kind of weird actually. I really don't know how I can change this. Let's see, 49. Let's see if I can take this. So,
Order submitted.
all right. So I think I'm in on this trade now. Yeah, on my accounts, I had to use the next contract for December instead of September. It's a little strange. So yeah, my fill is actually up here. Fill is actually up there on my NinjaTrader account. So we'll see if price wants to continue to spool for today. Would be kind of odd, in my opinion, on a Monday. But at least risk management is intact, right? But yeah, I got a little bit better of a fill on the PA accounts. So I am up here on that. We got a nice fair value gap here formed off the open. Do like to see that. I do want to see price come back through and invert that fair value gap, and we could scale in this trade. That would be nice. Yeah, we do have the pre-market lows down here as well, so a lot of signs that point to that we could be coming back towards this midnight open, this low resistance liquidity, and this London low, right? And it being a Monday before FOMC, you know, I think this is definitely a little manipulation move, right? To come back down, invert this fair value gap, and possibly trade lower. But still not mad about this fill, right? This is still a good fill in my opinion. But also on the PA accounts, we did get a little bit better of a fill up here because of that technical difficulty. So hmm. ES is following suit, right? ES traded higher as well into all-time highs. We should be getting a little correction move now. You can't see? Is it lagging? Is it lagging for anybody else? Or is it just for Eric? Yeah. Might have bad connection or the servers are messed up. Something, man. Classic Discord, huh? All right, so 15-minute trading higher here with no bottom wick right off the bat. Yeah, still a lot of potential to the downside. See if price wants to continue to spool though. Do you usually trade after stream? Sometimes I will take a trade. It depends on if I've hit my max daily loss. Last week and the week before, I did take a couple trades off stream, but that was only because, I was break even for the day, or, I only had one loss and I saw more opportunity. But usually when I'm taking a trade off stream, it's just like holding for a long time, right? Or to like the end of the day. Like sometimes those will be like 2 or 3 hour holds because I'm giving myself a little bit bigger stop loss, like similar to this, right? And I just kind of let it ride. Those are like the only trades I'll really take off stream. But, I will post like in the trade recaps if I take a trade in the off stream, like in the PM session or something. Because it can be a little exhausting, and I sometimes have the mistake of over managing trades. So sometimes I do like to just like take a trade and, walk away and do something, and just let it kind of ride. Because sitting here staring at the chart for an hour and a half while you're on in a trade is kind of, you know, you could easily overmanage the trade. And I've done that a lot. I could be right about where price is going, but I scale in too hard and I put my stop loss in like a not so good area, stuff like that. So I'm really trying to get back to where I was most successful with my trading, and that's finding, you know, the daily, where's the daily draw and liquidity going to be, right? So I think, price by the end of the day might come down here and trade back into the range. So where am I going to give myself a really good fill, to be able to catch that move and be safe in the trade if I'm wrong, right? And just focus on like one trade idea for the day instead of, you know, trying to flip bias and look for a bunch of different models, things like that. Just focus on where price is going for the day. Have that one good trade setup in mind. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. You manage your risk. But when you're switching bias around, after you hit stop loss and stuff, that's where you can like get in a little bit of trouble. And I found myself like past 2 weeks kind of doing that. But I got a little lucky, I would say, because when you're switching your bias and you're going long and you're going short, it's just, it's a little risky. It's not good for the long term. But you know, if I come to the market every day and I say, hey, like I think the draw on liquidity is going to be lower, right? I think price is going to go down here. If I stick to that and I'm like, okay, then I'm going to be looking for shorts anywhere in this area here, right? And I'll have my stop loss up here that basically tells me I was wrong about the trade idea. You know, that's only one trade idea. That's one loss for the day. You move on to the next day. You know, so it's basically practicing discipline. You're not over trading, you're not over leveraging, obviously, because risk is intact. But you know, you have one trade idea. If you're wrong about that, that's fine. You move on to the next day. It prevents you from over trading. It helps with discipline, you know, and that's just, you're not even trying to, right? That's just because you are wrong about price action. So you just kind of move on. It kind of forces you into those good habits. But you know, I could take a loss today and it'd be fine. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But I wouldn't expect a Monday to expand higher. You know what I mean? But that's just my like logical thinking on the market. You know, somebody could have read this market and they're like, oh yeah, for sure it's gonna spool higher at the market open. You know what I mean? For sure it will spool higher. But you know, me like logically, I just didn't think that would happen. But it's fine, you know. You can be wrong. But yeah, looking at that three standard deviation probably as a last line of defense. But I still only have about half risk on the table here. Only about $100 risk. So the whole idea of, you know, shorting up here is just getting a good fill so we can scale in the trade as it starts moving down in our favor. Right? Maybe we scale in here, 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 move our stop along the way and take profit at the midnight open, you know, and possibly the London low if we have a good break even point. But yeah, I really liked how we came to that two standard deviation and we created that fair value gap right there. I would have loved to see that fair value gap get inverted, right? Be like a V-shaped recovery. But you know, price action's kind of doing the same thing it did on Friday. If you look at Friday's price action, right? We had Asia right here, and then we manipulated down below during London, and then we spooled higher. Same thing's happening today. We had Asia and then manipulation, and now we're trading higher. Now the market open did come back to market you know, that Asia high and that midnight open here, and we didn't see that today. Price did not come back. Price just started spooling. But a little bit different context though with this because we were in like the start of the distribution, and now here I would say we're like in the middle of the distribution. But yeah, like I said, this three standard deviation kind of the last line of defense for this trade. This could be one of those situations, though. This could be one of those days where we see price spool up here to this area and then probably cool off for the rest of the day. Since it is a Monday, you know, we got FOMC later this week. That is something that we could see, right? Price just run straight up here and then consolidate for the rest of the day, and that be basically the only move. But you know, if shorts were to come in and play here at this point, it would be kind of I don't know, the way I'm reading this price action now, it's possible we come back to this range or equilibrium, right? But this London low could be off the table at this point. Yeah, price is just spooling higher today. We'll see if we start trading a little bit past that three standard deviation. It could look like that's a possibility. So traded right up into that level, starting to see a reaction, but we need a pretty big V-shaped recovery here at this point because first 30 minutes of the open, running higher and holding pretty solid, right? Keeps continuing to trade higher. But, you know, if this hits stop, I'm not really mad. I wouldn't be mad about this trade because it's a Monday. I got half risk on the table. Got a lot of trading left for the week, right? Lots of trading left for the week. It's gonna hit. Is it gonna hit? Got a couple more levels above. Yeah, that manipulation leg. I see the standard deviation off that. I think a lot of people are probably trying to short all-time highs right now, especially on a Monday. But price is just spooling up, so pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Yeah, Alex, I am too. Honestly, I would have expected price to move back into the range a little bit and take some of this low resistance liquidity, but that's what NQ does sometimes. NQ will move to NQ will tend to spool without no signs sometimes. We actually didn't get stopped out of this trade, which is weird. It did come up to that level. Or the liquidity. Yeah, we could be the liquidity today. But like I said, I'm kind of chilling. I got half risk. I had a better fill up here on the Ninja Trader, like I said, on the 20p account, so I'm only risking $100. Not mad about it. Still a lot of trading this week, Not mad about it at all. But yeah, like I said, we had this 10 a.m. candle or this 9:45 candle have no wick to the bottoms. Figured maybe we could come back and start flipping, but it's all good. See if this stop gets tagged. No, I had manually I placed the trade on Ninja Trader, so I should be golden. Now we are at that 3 standard deviation, so we could see price completely reverse from here, which would be kind of crazy, but we're seeing ES do the same thing. It's definitely possible. We'll see if that's the 10 a.m. high though. Yeah, look at this 4-hour candle. This 4-hour candle is actually pretty crazy for a Monday, right? Definitely crazy for a Monday. See if price wants to pull a 10 a.m. reversal. You closed the trade early? Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I mean, I mitigated my loss a lot. Like I mitigated my risk. This would be me closing my trade early. Same thing, right? Because this would be, $100 loss on the 20p accounts. So I mean, full loss for me is $200. I mean, that's already mitigating my loss. But yeah, I don't think I'm not mad about taking this trade. Like I would probably take it over and over again because if I just ask myself where am I more likely to get 100 points out of the market, I would say I'm more likely to get 100 points out of the market from this 2 standard deviation. You know what I mean? If we're trading up into this 2 standard deviation here, I feel like it's more likely to get 100 points out of the market from that point to the downside, not to the upside. So I feel like the odds were a little bit more in my favor to go short, but you know, obviously the market had different plans, but it is what it is. Frank, you're scared? You're scared of this price action, bro? But you're also trading minis, right? You're also back to trading minis. One mini. So I mean, your stop loss really has to be really tight. See, I'm the opposite, man. I'm the opposite in that regard. Like I want to give myself a big stop loss and just let the trade kind of breathe a little bit. Definitely going to get back to that because that was what was working the best for me. Yeah, I'm curious if we see price spool all the way up towards this 4 standard deviation today, or, you know, like I said, it being a Monday, we already did get really nice price action to the upside. Well, I wouldn't say it was good price action, but it was a good move, right? It was a good move. So I am expecting some ugliness to start showing for the rest of the day. I wouldn't be surprised. Eric is still laggy for you? Yeah, bro. It's whack. This should hit. Let's see. Maybe, I don't know. You see ES kind of rejecting there. ES did invert that small fair value gap there. Very interesting. Does price start moving down from here? That's the question. Be back. One sec. Still holding on here. Kind of crazy. Still holding on. Does look like it still wants to trade higher, but we might see price start really turning around here. Hmm. Yeah, so it's really looking like ES wants to start rolling over here, not gonna lie. NQ, not quite. Until NQ can invert this fair value gap, I would say NQ still looks like it's gonna trade higher, but yeah, Joe, for my contracts automatically got removed, but the contract switch isn't till later today at 6 p.m. So my trade that I took here wasn't copy trading over to my Ninja Trader. So I had to take the trade separately on my Ninja Trader today because the contract switched and I couldn't switch it back. Yeah, got messed up a little bit, but I was able to still take the trade on my Ninja Trader and copy trade it over, so it was fine. But my Ninja Trader, my 20 PA accounts, my fill is up here actually. So I got a little bit better of a fill. But I am getting a little lucky right now. I am getting a little lucky. Price is turning around at that 3 standard deviation. We'll see if this 5-minute fair value gap gets respected or we start trading through it. We start trading through it, I would say that this market open is pretty juicy, right? Market open liquidity. But yeah, we'll see. As of right now, just respecting that fair value gap, trading higher. And we if we get stopped out today, we just be done for the day, right? If we get stopped out here. Because Monday, definitely expecting if we do trade a little bit higher, right? So say we trade up in this range, I do expect consolidation after that. I will not be expecting a full-on reversal for a Monday. And it's not really anything I'm looking for right now, to be honest. To be honest, if we did come back to this range, I would probably end up cutting the trade like here or maybe even at break even at this point. Because if I wanted to see that V-shaped recovery, I did want to see this in the first 30 minutes, right? So if we manipulate above here, I did expect price to want to come back down and invert this fair value gap. But since we are trading higher and we're holding up here, I would say price just wants to maybe consolidate for the rest of the day. Yeah, I still think that 15-minute candle is very interesting, right? With no bottom wick. Now we did form that 15-minute fair value gap there as well. Looks pretty bullish. Looks pretty bullish. Eric can finally see. Let's go. Can you see me deep in drawdown on this trade? Oh man, ES looks great. ES looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, still. But NQ, like I said, not so much. Do have SMT at the highs, which is also good. Might see NQ start to roll over with ES. Deep in that tone. Man, that's just the tone of my voice, bro. That's just the tone. Honestly, not bad price action though for Monday. I mean, at least we got some type of movement, you know, and not consolidation. But this is where we might start consolidating, right? Because Mondays are typically not the best. However, not bad today. Not bad. Come on, let's invert this fair value gap. We got a minute 40 left on this candle. We keep trying to trade to this fair value gap here, so I will say we come up, we reject it, but we keep coming down to it, so James Earl Jones. 14 minutes, Civi. Imagine if you were on the 14-minute chart, bro. Oh my god. People have some crazy stuff too, though. I watched I was watching one of TJR's live trading the other day, and bro has 7 minutes on his chart. I was like, what? Look at my Ninja Trader. It's actually bugging out. Or my trading view. My trading view is actually bugging out right now. What the hell is this? Yeah, this is weird. My Ninja Traders, or my trading view is bugging out. All right, let me open up another one, I guess. That was weird. That was really weird. You're onto something, maybe. You might be onto something. I think I'm cooking here. I think I'm cooking something up. Maybe cooking poo poo soup. Maybe cooking huge shorts. Yeah, I'm honestly thinking we consolidate in this range for the rest of the day. Maybe trade a little bit higher, but I might be closing this trade at this point. I don't feel too confident in it at this point. We'll see if we can invert this fair value gap, but I don't think we're going to see price trade back down. $50 contracts? Bro, what? Oops. Loss or win? Damn. Jesus, dude. Bro, that sucks. Yeah, it's tough. I hate those technical errors like that just cost you money. It's so frustrating, man. It's kind of crazy. Just one mistake, click of the button is. I'm wondering if I add a contract if we invert that fair value gap, but I don't really want to assume that risk. Adding to a losing trade is kind of meh. My stop loss would be above the high, but I don't really like that. Yeah. I think I close this trade and take the L, honestly. I think I might close this trade for the day. Yeah, I'm gonna close here.
Order filled.
I'm gonna close here.
Order filled.
Yeah, I'm expecting price to just kind of consolidate now. Now, if we do invert this fair value gap and we start trading lower, it is what it is. But I don't really have too much confidence in this trade right now. So I'll just be closing that and taking the small L.